Blackmore.
Taekwondo. We're going to be exploring the wonderful world of this martial art and traditional fighting games among you, popular characters, franchises, the whole 9 yards. It is pretty much a staple within the fighting game genre among karate, boxing, wrestling, you name it. In today's video, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns in this fighting style variant video, especially things that I'm sure plenty of you did not know about certain characters. So I hope you enjoy what I have in store for you, because we are just getting started on the fighting style variants series. So kick your feet up, grab your snacks, relax, and enjoy today's episode, folks, because you are in for a treat. Trust me on that. Check it out. ITF, aka International Taekwondo Federation. Founded in 1966 by General Choi Hung-hai. ITF Taekwondo uses traditional techniques, self-defense, and philosophical teachings. The ITF is renowned for its structural patterns and a pretty unique scientific approach to power generation using wave motion. Sparring in ITF is semi-contact, focusing on speed, accuracy, and control instead of having to rely on brute force. ITF is always considered the original form of Taekwondo out there, along with so many characters throughout the history of traditional fighting games out there that use ITF Taekwondo. And I'm sure you can expect me to name the hot-blooded punk of Taken, Songahm. He is such a beautiful display of 3D animations showing off ITF TKD. In each passing game, he just gets better and better every time. Even his mocap back in the day of Taken 3 was done by a former ITF World Champion, Tang Soo Do. Rig from the Dead or Alive series is another wonderful ITF fighter, especially with this flamingo stem, similar to Harong, is used quite heavily in that fighting style, in which I almost forgot to mention. It's pretty famously used in ITF Taekwondo. Jhoon Rhee from the Street Fighter series making her strong debut in Super Street Fighter 4, like she easily is one of the big winners of fan favorite newcomers, and this is the first ever for Street Fighter having a Taekwondo character. Her style is loosely based off of ITF 2, but the reason I say loosely is due to the exaggerated movements and the other animations she has due to the whole fantasy aspect. So she's a less grounded, inspired fighter compared to someone like Makoto's Shotokan, but that's okay, we still love her. No, you cannot fix her. Now for one of the smoothest 2D animations out there for ITF representation goes to my man Kim. Hats off to this character, along with the real Kim Kapwan for working with SNK, really pushing them to add a TKD character. Kim has been a beloved character ever since then. Even those buttery smooth animations on his pants got better and better over time. I still say KOF 13 is peak 2D hand-drawn sprite animations that we will never see replicated again for modern fighting games, since 3D animation is easier and cost-effective. I can never get tired of hearing Kim's Bruce Lee-like war cries and shouts in the middle of his moves. The Kim legacy with his children being ITF TKD practitioners as well as the other SNK fighters, except for one of them. I'll be doing a special video on SNK's TKD influence on 2D fighters in a future video, but I can at least drop this shocking news to you. Luong, one of the many newcomers of KOF 14 and 15, in which I say this is SNK's answer to Jhoon Rhee, she doesn't use Taekwondo technically. She practices a Vietnamese martial art called Vo Nham, which is heavily influenced by Taekwondo. I kept wondering why certain attacks she would do look similar to something, So I did more digging around. Best way I can explain how it is heavily influenced by Taekwondo, roughly during the 1950s and 60s, when Volnyam was being further developed and gaining some popularity. It came into contact with other martial arts, including Taekwondo. This period coincided with the spread of Taekwondo in Southeast Asia. The influence of it on Bonyam can be seen in several aspects like the many dynamic, high spinning kicks from Taekwondo it adopted. There's also a similar belt ranking system, uniforms, and even the rules and competitions set in Taekwondo tournaments that it uses. Ever want a full-fledged, more detailed character fighting style video on Luong? Let me know in the comments below. Now, WTF, the World Taekwondo Federation, was established in 1973, aligning closely around the time with South Korea's efforts to globalize the sport more. World Taekwondo focuses on competition. Think of Olympic competitions. In fact, it is the style that you see represented majority of the time in the Olympics. Competitions highlight the most visible differences. World Taekwondo sparring uses electronic scoring, with points awarded for kicks to the torso and head. Punches to the body are allowed but rarely emphasized. ITF sparring, on the other hand, allows a broader range of techniques, including punches to the head and a focus on control and accuracy rather than power. Both styles practice forms, but they call them different names. ITF forms, or tools, follow a traditional structure, reflecting philosophical ideas and applications. WTF forms, known as Pumse, are more streamlined and focus on balance, rhythm, and precision. Now, whenever you hear traditional Taekwondo being discussed, usually people are talking about the original practice of TKD as it was developed in Korea in the 1940s and 50s. Heavily influenced by Korean martial arts, Japanese karate, and traditional Korean culture, it focuses on self-defense, discipline, and philosophical principles rooted in Buddhism. Traditional Taekwondo includes a wider variety of techniques such as hand strikes, elbow strikes, low kicks, and grappling moves, which are less common in sport Taekwondo. Even it places greater emphasis on rigorous drills, basics, and real-world applications, whereas modern Taekwondo focuses on agility, sparring, and fitness. So it's a rarity you'll find traditional Taekwondo in competitions or events. Liu from Fighter's History is someone that represents traditional Taekwondo that I can think of in this instant. Now for Tang Soo Do, I can't really speak about this without talking about Mu Duk Kwan. There is so much confusion that I've seen around these two, so I'm going to try my very best with what I've looked into. Tang Soo Do is the technical side, while Mu Duk Kwan is more on the philosophical side of it. Tang Soo Do emphasizes powerful, precise strikes, including punches, kicks, blocks, and open hand techniques. High kicks and dynamic movements are pretty common. Now, Mu Duk Kwan is an organization called Martial Virtue, along being a self-defense art that combines physical and mental training for practitioners to discover their full potential. Now, here's where I'm going to break these two down. Tang Soo Do is the overarching art, while Mu Duk Kwan is more of a school style under it, like I mentioned earlier. Mu Duk Kwan is considered a style within the broader category of Taekwondo. Tang Soo Do is often associated with Mu Duk Kwan style, while not directly part of Taekwondo. They are so closely related and considered a precursor to the unified Taekwondo style. You see where I'm going with this, where the confusion happens? You technically can't really separate it without removing those roots it has with the art. This is a similar case to karate, where you have Jhoon Rhee, Shotokan, and many others. Mu Duk Kwan became
Soo Do after some crazy disputes and legal issues between students. There are some old Mudokwan Taekwondo schools that exist, which are a result of the trying to unify the Korean arts under one roof, which seems where so much of the issues and complications come from. There is definitely history there, and this goes for any martial arts schools out there. Each school might emphasize different aspects of the art. A technique might differ slightly, a move or technique within a form might be different, as with any other combat art or sport out there. I wanted to clear the air from what I gathered on this. The biggest character I feel represents both of these are Baek Do-san from Tekken. Even his gi is the Mudokwan's uniform. He overlaps so much between these two arts due to its rooted history of Taekwondo, so it's quite fascinating to me for Baek to represent this art within Tekken. Other fighters that used Tang Soo Do during the 3D era of Mortal Kombat are Quan Chi and Havoc of all characters. If there are any other characters out there that I left out for this style, please let me know in the comments. I've been rattling my brain while researching this to look for other characters, but didn't find much under Tang Soo Do, so at the moment, these are the only characters that I can manage to find. Kukki Taekwondo was founded in 1972, with the establishment of Kukkiwon, also known as the World Taekwondo headquarters in Seoul, South Korea. This style emerged as an effort to unify various Korean martial arts after decades of division and external influences. Under the guidance of General Cho Hong-hee and other pioneers, Taekwondo evolved into a distinct art form rooted in traditional Korean techniques and values. It's characterized by its emphasis on high, fast, and spinning kicks. Practitioners develop flexibility, speed, and precision through rigorous training. The art also includes poomsae, which are prearranged sequences of techniques designed to refine form and showcase martial art principles, like I mentioned in the past. This style has also gained international recognition in the 2000s when it became an official Olympic sport. The competitive aspect focuses on sparring, with the emphasis on scoring through clean, powerful kicks to the torso and head. The electronic scoring system ensures fairness and precision in matches. A surprising addition of who I can think of is Durga from Anarchy Reigns. You can see in the middle of his revolver shots, he's using traditional Taekwondo techniques and many of his strikes involving Kukki Taekwondo. American Taekwondo Association, aka ATA, was founded around 1969 by Hyung-eun Lee, a South Korean martial artist who wanted to expand Taekwondo's reach in the US. He is also responsible for creating Songahm Taekwondo, which is the official system practiced by members. From my research, I did run into some confusions with ATA and Songahm being separate things, but from what I gathered, the two are closely related but aren't the same. Songahm Taekwondo refers mainly to the style of Taekwondo practiced within ATA schools, meaning if you train at an ATA school, you are practicing Songahm Taekwondo. There's also quite a bit of controversy with ATA in general, which comes down to politics of those schools, tournaments, and rule set, along with adding a lot of flashy elements like weaponry, loads of patches, and kids being able to get multiple degree black belts, being more self-contained and not international like ITF and WTF. Those are like the major differences from what I found, but if anyone has more information besides that, please let me know. Songahm Taekwondo is the style, like I mentioned before with ATA, is what you'll see practiced so much within it, with 18 total forms. They're arranged as a system to gradually increase your skills as a student, along with developing balance and muscle through the beginner ranks and all the way to Grandmaster. This is why many forms throughout Songahm don't repeat most techniques more than twice. Unlike other older forms, think of it in a way like what you'll see through Japanese and Okinawan kata forms. Sparring and competitions aren't full contact. While it does incorporate sparring, the style generally uses a pretty controlled, semi-contact approach with specific legal target areas for safety reasons, meaning strikes are not meant to be delivered with full force to the head. As far as I know, no fighting game character so far uses this style along with ATA principles. Maybe that'll change one day in the future. Jhoon Rhee is known as the father of American Taekwondo, someone who introduced a martial art that really showcases discipline, respect, and self-improvement to the US. Around the time Jhoon was born in the 1930s, Taekwondo was still evolving as a unifying martial art during that time, drawing from traditional Korean techniques and elements of karate. In 1956, he came to the US. Around this time, his passion for martial arts took over. He's credited as the first to introduce Taekwondo to the US, where his schools became the foundation for the West. Jhoon Rhee Taekwondo often combines elements of Eastern and Western philosophies. This includes traditional martial art values like respect and humility, alongside modern principles of goal setting and leadership. He adapted his teaching methods to resonate with American culture, making it easier for his students to connect with Taekwondo on a personal level, where those schools are still around to this very day.
So with the world of Taekwondo, it is quite fascinating that this martial art just has a very rich and at the same time a complicated history of where there's so many different unifications of trying to unite everything under one branch that it wasn't really going to happen, it seems. But the fact that this is still very popular around the world, and I feel the main reason you see that as well, even in traditional fighting games, is not only is it very flashy, acrobatic, and just very pleasing to the eyes of just really just looking at this martial art. So several different fighting game franchises out there went about just creating their own Taekwondo character, or several Taekwondo characters, especially looking at you, SNK. Don't you worry, we're going to be doing a video on that pretty soon, like I mentioned before, so stay tight for that one. But I feel that is one of the big reasons why you just see Taekwondo just being a thing in fighting games as it is, from Taken, Street Fighter, SNK titles, and even Urban Reign, and several different beat 'em ups and other fighting games out there that I really have not named yet. But it is just a beautiful thing to just see so many of these characters just really just bring the art form to life, or even just bring it to life in their own manner of how the way they go about it. Even if it's exaggerated in the fantasy aspect, it's still the fact that they're representing this martial art, to me, is still on the plus side and should be celebrated on top of that, because every martial art I feel that gets its own representation in the game is a win in my book. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please, if you enjoyed this series and just want to end up seeing more that I have in store, please give a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can stay updated on any future videos coming to the channel. This is Blackmore here, signing out. Catch you later, folks. And the Discord is there too in the description if you want to end up joining, hanging out, chit-chatting, or just end up seeing what I have in store. But don't want to take up too much of y'all time. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay gaming and keep on fighting in these fighting games, y'all. Peace.
study of Kung Fu fighting is ongoing. Don't ever hope to master all of them. So be careful.